You're just being weak. And as soon as we can admit that, then we can do something about it. Because then you understand that nobody will be out there to save you. No one's going to figure this shit out for you. It's on you and only you. So when there is disappointments, you understand that you're going to do the things that make you strong. All right. Welcome to another episode of Mindset Mastery. I want to thank you for joining me today. And I have a really good subject in line. Last week, I actually made a trip out to Orange County, and I'm on the shores of Dana Point, California, right in the middle of, where we're multimillionaires, right? And I'm not just talking about $2 to $3 million earners. I'm talking about sometimes even hundreds of millions, or there's billionaires in this area. And, for me, it was the first time that I've ever been into a $20 million home. A $20 million home. And I was just shocked and I was surprised about, the attention to detail in this mansion. I mean, just everything, every corner, every square inch of this property is just filled with wealth, right? It's like you can count like this square foot of home is probably about $200,000. This square, foot home, that area of the home is probably about $500,000. And you just look at every aspect of the home, and I almost was overstimulated, right? Overstimulated about, the amount. Can we close this door here? About the amount of money it actually takes, and the person that it requires to earn something like, or to live in that type of, home. Not only what it costs, but what he has to create, what that person has to create, man or woman, right? What that person has to create. And, one of the first things that I thought was, there's not many moments where this person is weak. There's not many moments where this person is overwhelmed by what needs to be done, about what is required, about the solutions that have to be, have to come into fruition. There's not many points where this person just thinks it's okay to take his foot off the gas. And I'm talking about my coach, and I've seen his trajectory over the years, the trajectory of his commitment and his work ethic. And I know why exactly he's there. Just like I look at my own trajectory, and even though it's not at that point or at that level, I know I'm on the right track because I'm willing to do the hard things. I'm willing to be committed. I'm willing to take on the pains that most are unwilling to do. And it showcases itself on a consistent basis of realizing that I've conditioned myself to keep going. And, many people entering into this industry, they say that, there's a vast majority where it's close to 90% of individuals that come into the real estate game will fail. They will fail. And part of that reason, the number one reason, is because of the ease of getting into this business. I mean, it doesn't require much. If you think about what you had to do, what you had to overcome, the test that you had to take in order to get your license, the path to getting here is easy. But there's a misconception, right? There's a misconception that just because you passed this test, now you are ready to expect the hundreds of thousands of dollars or the money that comes along with it. And many people are just not in that place where they can take the disappointment. They can't handle the pain of disappointment. They can't handle the pain of repetition, of monotony, of boredom. They can't handle the pain of rejection. So they find themselves kind of just like being thrown around everywhere with emotions because they just can't understand that just because it was easy to get in, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy to be successful. And many of you, and I've been in this situation, at the moment there's a certain level of disappointment, you shut down. You shut down because a deal didn't go through. You shut down because a buyer or a seller canceled the contract. You shut down because the appraisal came in low. You lose sleep. You get to a point where you're just wallowing in your own pity because this deal didn't go through. And when you compare it to the ambitions and the goals and the targets that you want, and you compare it to how you're reacting and acting, it's not a parallel. It doesn't even make sense, right? They're in complete opposite sides of the world. Because what you want is going to require a person that doesn't shut down. The targets you want, the money you want to make, the happiness in your marriage, the body you desire is not in alignment with how you're actually showing up. And I see this every day. I even brought my lunch bag. I thought I brought my lunch bag in here. And I start thinking about how many people have come to us and asked us, hey, how do you stay fit for so long? I'm 43 years old and I am fit. And I have energy that will run circles around most people. And I'm not saying this to brag. What I'm saying is it is just a byproduct of my commitment. And I've seen many people come through. And we give them a taste of what we do on a consistent basis. And it's all good for 30 days. It's all good for 60 days. Some make it through 90 days. And then all of a sudden, they just can't keep up. They expect it to be easier, when in fact, they can't handle it. They can't handle the pain of monotony. They can't handle the pain of consistency. That's tough. And when I look at my coach and what he's been able to create, I realize that he's a savage. He doesn't allow the small things to slow him down. He doesn't allow the lack of sleep to slow him down. The obstacles, he figures out a way. And sometimes I think we're too easy in ourselves, right? We allow ourselves to just sit back, wallow in our pity, and say it's going to be better another day. And I think that's what makes me not a good friend, right? Sometimes I question myself why I don't have a big, a big network of friends. I've known my coach for so many years, but I'll tell you this right now: we're not friends. Because if we were friends, he would have disappointed me many years ago. Because he would have had sympathy, empathy. He would have told me it's okay. He would have told me, hey, AZ, don't worry about it. Maybe it'll happen some other time. And that's a requirement, and that's sometimes I feel bad because I have a lot of individuals, and sometimes they're shocked by my response because I don't approach it the same way. And if I did, I wouldn't be serving you right now. Because your friends will tell you it is going to be okay. Your friends will tell you, hey, take this time off. Your friends will tell you you deserve to be in the situation you're in. To be okay to just shut away from the world. I'm the guy who tells you to navigate through the pain. I see beyond that, right? I'm not trying to give you comfort for the moment. I see way beyond that. I see what the consequences are to your family, to your self-confidence. Those are the consequences. Because once you decide that enough is enough, now you have to dig yourself out of all the bad decisions you made when you were down. You overate. You stopped returning phone calls. Your spouse lost trust in you. Now you have to dig yourself out just to get back to the status quo. My job is never to tell you it's going to be okay. I'm never going to fuel weakness. And I think many of you expect that from me, just like I expect that from the people that have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to coach and mentor me. I need somebody just to ask me, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And that's something you have to ask yourself as you wake up every morning when it's tough, when things are not going your way, when there's no other deals on the horizon. And when you continue to ask yourself, what are you going to do about it? You realize maybe you're not in alignment with the goals and the ambitions you set forth for yourself. Maybe you're just showing up weak. And that's hard to say, right? Who wants to tell themselves that they're weak? But I'm going to tell you something. We've all been there. I've been there. And all it did was create more consequences for me. There's greater consequences of being weak than just navigating through that pain. You want to make all this money, you want to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, but you shut down at the moment something doesn't go your way. You shut down and question yourself what it's for when you have a small argument at home. You shut down at the moment there's a sickness or an illness. You find ways to excuse yourself, only to realize like you're only further away from your goals and ambitions. As I look the results of what I have and the results of what I've seen those that have been coached and mentored by, I know that it wasn't weakness that got them there. I know it was the constant fight, realizing it's tough for everyone. The only problem is you thought it was going to be easy for yourself. And it gets me thinking, like everything we have right now, everything that you have right now is in direct correlation to the work you've put in and your ability to navigate through the pain of monotony, the pain of boredom, the pain of disappointment. Everything. Nothing more, nothing less. And the recent decisions that I've made for my personal life, it's because I've learned to trust myself, and I've shown up more times than I haven't. But when I look at myself 3 years ago, that was a pretty weak man there. He couldn't make decisions. He was constantly knocked off his game. But I decided not to just stay there. I grew my capacity. I grew my ability to stay consistent. Anyone can do this for 60 days. Try years. Try fighting up every day when it's good, when things are good. When your bank account looks bigger than it's ever been before. Try going then. Try going when you reach your goals in your health. But most will say, oh, okay, this is where I wanted to be. Cool. And right now, many people are benefiting from a good market. You may be benefiting from a killer market. But if you don't learn to develop the skill sets of overcoming disappointments and continuing to move forward when things are good, you're going to be the first to suffer. I have this unbelievable confidence that regardless of whatever comes my way, I will overcome because I've conditioned myself to do that. But if you're in a place where you're constantly not in a place where you'd like to be, where the finances are not improving, quit focusing on what may stop you from getting there. Focus on the actions you're refusing to do. It always comes down to the actions. But as I see the trajectory of those of you that have succeeded, it's this common factor that you can overcome. But some want these big, audacious goals but can't get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Can't create a video. And show up weak. I understand that, and we all got to understand that in order to get what we want, we have to be strong. And if we're thrown off by one obstacle, you have no chance. You have a 0 chance of being able to get what you want. This is where you proclaim that it's okay, that you can withstand the pains. Because there's bigger consequences when you're weak. And it's as I start looking at my own trajectory, I know that I can handle the pain of boredom, the pain of repetition, of monotony and disappointment, the pain of embarrassment. Because I know no one's going to give it to me. And I don't go to my coach so he can give me a solution. I go just to be questioned of what's next. I don't go to him because I need some sympathy. I go because he's ruthless about his approach. And I have to be ruthless about my approach. I have to be a savage through disappointments. I have to be a savage to get what I want. And at the moment I allow myself to be weak, things only get worse. It's not because of the market if you're not making it right now. It's because you're okay with being weak. It's not because your spouse doesn't support you. It's because you've shown up weak. It's not because you're not a good business person. Maybe you're just being weak. And as soon as we can admit that, then we can do something about it. Because then you understand that nobody will be out there to save you. No one's going to figure this shit out for you. It's on you and only you. So when there is disappointments, you understand that you're going to do the things that make you strong. Especially if you want to be in alignment with the goals and ambitions. But if you're coming into this thinking you deserve to be home at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, think you deserve to have your weekends off, then you're misinformed. This is going to require you to be relentless and ruthless about the process. I know getting into this, I couldn't afford going 2 to 3 months without an escrow or staying at the status quo enough to just pay my bills. I make decisions to push me and pull me to the future me. It's about self-responsibility. Because, anything less than that is easy. And that's a misconception again. What it took to get here was easy. It's unfortunate that many of you thought it was going to be easy. And as you step to the next level of creating teams, just know that maybe that's not the step until you can actually create a sustainable and predictable income. But the point of making it easier are the wrong reasons. You have to work hard every day, not just some of the time, all the time. And your results will be in direct correlation to your outcomes. So if there's not much money in the bank, it's in correlation to your actions. If your body's not where it needs to be, you succumbed to temptation and weakness. And it's okay, listen. I'm not saying we have to be disciplined all the time, but most of us are not disciplined anytime. So as I walked through this huge mansion, I did think about what it took to get there and the amount of responsibility that's resting on that man's shoulders. And I realized he didn't have an option to be weak. He didn't have an option to sit in pity. He had to be a savage. He had to go out and hunt every day, even on the days he didn't feel like it. So I'm going to tell you this. If you have too many people around you that tell you it's going to be okay, that's not okay. If you have too many people pitying your situation, it is not okay. If you have your own spouse accepting mediocrity, then you've done a hell of a job expecting for her or him to expect a weak person. You've grinded them down. The expectations are so low. What a shame. You see, a weak person doesn't serve anyone. A weak person will only bring more consequences, dire consequences, life-changing consequences. And if you conditioned your spouse to expect that, what a shame. None of us are here to be weak. I believe we all have the ability to change future generations. We have the ability to change our finances, to overcome whatever obstacle, not be thrown off by a low appraisal, by a missed listing opportunity, by the embarrassment of making a live video, by sitting in the boredom of an open house. You want it all, but you're refusing to do any of that. Because a part of you thought it was going to be easy. So listen, you're here because you know there's more within you. You're here because you saw that vision of you being successful in all aspects of your life, not just one. We don't attract people that just want money here. We attract people that want it all. And somewhere along the line, you may have forgotten. You may have forgotten. And you've allowed mediocrity to be acceptable. I know where I'm going, and I'm inviting you to come with me. You didn't work this hard just to be here. It's not about the money. It's about your ability to create something greater than you ever thought was possible in every aspect of your life. So listen, it's not going to be okay if you don't do something about it. It's not going to be okay if you avoid the pain, the hurt. Our job is easy, and my job is easy. I expect you to rise and do something about it. Plain and simple. You have a duty to lead. You have a duty to lead. There was this quote by Hippocrates that says, before you heal someone, ask him if he's willing to give up on the things that make him sick. Before you heal someone, ask him if he's willing to give up the things that make him sick. Are you willing to give up the things that are holding you back? Are you willing to give up the relationships you have that are keeping you just there? Are you willing to give up your inability to wake up early? Your inability to put yourself out on as simple as social media? And until then, you can't be healed. So guys, we have only about a month and a half to end this year strong. And I'm asking you not to be weak. I'm asking you to really navigate through the pain of boredom and monotony and repetition and consistency. It'll get you everything you desired and more. I'm on this path and I know I'm doing the right things. And if you're there, it's only a matter of time. But if you allow anything to throw you off your track, then you have a hard life ahead of you. So bring on that pain of doing the same things over and over and over again. Jesse, you got a friend in me. It's funny. And I'm not the best of friends, but I'll be a hell of a leader, guys. I'll be a hell of a leader. You need someone like me, and I need someone like me in my life too. And I have someone. My wife, Carla, keeps me on my toes. She will not withstand. She will not accept a weak man. I've been there. And it almost cost us our marriage. I've been there, and it almost cost me my business. I've been there, and it almost cost me my life. So, it's your duty to be strong. Showcase that today. Showcase your leadership today. I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. I will talk to you soon. Have a great day, everyone. Bye now. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast. brought to you by AZ & Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider.